Alright, so this match is going to start off with a series of takedown attempts. The first one is an ankle pick attempt. I'm going to talk about why that didn't go right, and then a successful drag to trip. We'll talk about why that worked out the way it did. So I do a good job pulling on his collar to make him take a step in, but the placement of my left hand here, it's just too high. If I could slide that left hand down to the heel, flush with the floor, that would really be an ideal placement. But because I missed that detail, he actually has an opportunity to step out of the takedown and recover. So I'll shuffle step to my right toward the leg that I want to trip, and then it's going to be a big pull on the collar. I shuffle back to the left so I can get out of the way. I don't want to pull him on top of me. I want to get off toward the left, and then I want to cover his foot with my right foot so he can't take a clean step out of the takedown. My right hand is really heavy on the collar, which is going to prevent him from posturing and getting a base with his left leg. And that's also going to buy me some time to hook his leg with my left arm so I can finish that single before he has an opportunity to build up to his base. So on the ground here, we'll take a look at a couple details. Position of my right elbow, very strong. Isolating his outside leg so he can't bring that in and start knee shielding or pushing me away. But I really don't like the position of my left hand. I should be on that sleeve, pulling that sleeve off the mat. But because I missed this little detail, he can build up to his bottom right elbow and initiate a scramble. Now I have to pass this guy's guard for a fairly large chunk of the match coming up. I do an okay job of keeping him flat with heavy left shoulder pressure, good chest-to-chest connection. But I was probably a little greedy on the right side, fishing for that lapel, and so he gets back to butterfly guard. So you'll see here I try to initiate another knee slide attempt. He's pretty good with that half guard, pretty tricky. Alright, let's freeze it. So what I wish I would have done here is I wish I would have taken my left instep and moved it over his right shin, like on top of that shin. If I would have done that, he really wouldn't be able to do any effective type of guard, and my passing options would have opened up a lot. Instead now, I find myself in this deep half guard. I'm working for an underhook and a figure four position on my right, but I do wish that my left leg and hip was sprawled back and I was dropping that left hip bone down. But I do find an opportunity to step out of the half guard here and initiate a passing and a back take sequence. I used the figure four to elevate, tried to take the back, but instead fell into a crucifix. I'm going to end up losing this position, and here's the main reason why. This left elbow position. I should have my left elbow hooked under his left elbow, which is going to prevent him from reaching hard and turning hard toward his right side. When the referee sets us, you won't be able to see the angle, but that's exactly what's going to happen. So you'll see in a moment, because of the lack of elbow control on my left, he bridges and reaches toward his right very easily and comes on top.
Rip him hard, rip him hard.
We spent some time here in this over-under pass position. He's obviously trying to pass my guard, and I'm trying to get my bottom right leg involved again, but he wants to keep it stuffed between his legs. Although my bottom right leg is stuffed, my left leg is flush with his neck. It's like half a triangle choke. There's a sweep attempt that I'm going to do here I like a lot from this position, and sometimes it works as a sweep, but sometimes it just gets you back to guard, which is what it did here. So to execute this, you'll build to your bottom elbow, big bridge to the same side, and then you're also going to keep a really tight grip on that other arm, pulling it across the body, a lot like you'd do for a regular triangle choke. And in this case, made some space, produced a scramble, and we're back to guard. So now I go to this cross collar, same side sleeve guard, which I like a lot. Both feet on the hips for now, big stretch, and... So my goal here, which I do eventually accomplish, is to get my hips up so I can get that left knee high on the outside of the elbow and pinch it in. It's going to kind of put him in like an arm lock position where he's forced to bend his arm down. So I accomplish it right here. And I made note of it earlier because you can't see it very well from this angle. But now I force the omoplata position.
Remember, 90 degrees. Come on, get to it. There we go. There we go.
It's definitely not a bad attempt. I do feel like I was a little greedy sitting up too fast too soon. I should have probably broken him down flat to his stomach before I try to sit up. But you can see there's a pretty wicked bend here in this guy's arm right about here. I mean, it's getting bad. So, flexibility definitely on his side.
Just stay there, John. Just stay there. Relax. Settle in. Settle in.
A little tough to see here, but I'm establishing a grip with my left hand on his pants that's going to help fold his hips to the side as he rolls through. So he's really trying to roll through here, but then I can fold the hips and the legs to the side so he never actually gets back to a strong guard position. We move into this leg drag, chest pretty low, good grip on both collars. That sweep is going to score 2 more points. You'll see this is a bit of a waiting game here. When you get into the leg drag and you get chest to chest and you have good upper body control like I've got here, there's really no reason to rush it. In fact, rushing it can produce a scramble, which will put you right back in guard. Notice the roll of my left arm here. It's going to go under his leg, and that's going to help control the way that he can turn his hips. It's going to help me keep him flat and settle the pass.
Settle down, settle down, settle down. Settle down.
Did you get points
Got
for that
points,
yet?
3 points.
There you go, John.
So a lot of patience here. I just passed the guard. This is a good opportunity in competition to take a breather. And if I do leave space, he's going to slide that left knee back between our bodies, and he's going to start doing guard again, which I didn't want to deal with. On the right side here, I'm going to start a lapel feed that's a little hard to see from this angle, but once we turn, you're going to get a better look at it.
Oh, he's got the collar.
So I fed his lapel with my left hand under his armpit to my right hand, and this functions as an underhook, so it frees up my left arm to reach back and control his hips if I need to.
Stay low, stay low.
What's he? Oh, I got you.
So he does a good job of turning in and hiding his bottom left elbow. And because of this, he's able to put me back in half guard just for a moment, back step out, and back to side control here, working for that figure 4 on the far side.
Still has that arm. Still has that arm.
Okay, what do you want?
There's that hip control again, using that left arm under his leg to help turn his hips. He was doing a great job turning in pretty much the entire match. So this reverse side control is interesting because it gives you a really good attacking angle on the far side arm. You can see him hooking a figure 4 up here. It's hard to see exactly what's going on the far side, but ideally I'd like to step over his head with my right leg, maybe go to north-south, and there's another half guard trap.
Get that leg free again.
One thing that would have been interesting here is establishing the underhook on the left side instead of attacking the arm. And then the underhook on the right side comes pretty easy because most people don't expect it. Then I could use my right instep as a wedge on that inside leg in conjunction with those 2 underhooks to force my way to mount. I think the straight arm lock attack on the far side just became so strong that he had to open his half guard up. Now we're in north-south position with that figure 4 and transition to knee on the belly.
Got your points.
Dan, what's the time?
All right, the grip that I miss here is critical. I don't control his sleeve, I don't pull it up, I don't keep him flat. So he hides that elbow and he uses it to build up. Now I try to correct my mistake by grabbing his wrist, but at this point it's too late and that grip's not strong enough.
Drop him.
So that sweep, him going from bottom to top, scores him 2 points. Now the score is 12-2. Back to half guard here. One of my favorite things to do from bottom half guard is just insert that outside instep so I can get back to butterfly guard or half butterfly. And I use that instep as a wedge to pull my right knee up. Now I'm in butterfly guard and that arm's exposed. Now this arm lock was pretty tight, but it was clear that he was just going to tough this out. There's so many different ways that I could transition from this position. But if this was me grappling today, I would turn my right shin down across the back of the neck. I would swim to my stomach in 180 degrees to face his feet, which would likely cause him to roll through and we would end up in a position called the spider web. I transitioned to the omoplata, but he's very smart. He steps over my body right away. I mean, he could attack my legs, he could pass from here. And now I find my way back to the half guard position. So at this point in the match, I did something that I always advise my athletes not to do. I started coasting. I stopped fighting, and I just focused on bleeding out the clock for the win. I knew the score was 12-2, and I knew there wasn't much time left.
You can't have more than a minute. I've been filming 7.
It doesn't matter how many points you're up. Anytime you start waiting for the clock to run out, there is a tangible shift in momentum. Your opponent can feel the switch, and it can lead to them catching a submission that they might not otherwise catch, or running up the points faster than you think would be possible.
I don't know what they're doing for the open, so. Okay. You got 30. Just hang on, John. 25 seconds.
And you'll see that's exactly what's happening here. Because the momentum is shifted in the match, he is now attacking, I'm waiting for time to run out, and he does manage to score 3 more points with a guard pass before the match runs out. So if you learn one lesson from this video, it should be this. Never stop fighting. No matter how far you're up, no matter how much time's left on the clock, keep attacking.
3, 2, 1.
Sweet.
Bing.